gave a donation and said, I give $100. Now, they're waiting for the secretary to bill him for the $100. In the interim, let's say all of a sudden he got a bill, he needs it, he has to pay off, so he's not paying the $100 yet, and they paid it later, so he technically took from what he anticipated would be the $100.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or is this only when it's a specific, I put this coin here, it's in this tzedakah box, and then he goes by, he needs some money, he says, I'm going to borrow $1 from this, and I'm just going to put it back later. I mean, does it have to be
Even
physically, or is an intention the same?
It sounds like either.
Either or.
It sounds like either. Once it reaches the gabbai,
I do it immediately, I do. And then the secretary sends me a bill. I say, I paid you already. She says, stop doing that. It messes up the whole bookkeeping by her.
I mean, you're supposed to wait. I was told...
She gets so upset because then it's handed in afterwards. I don't like to...
I was told that when you make a pledge on Shabbos, you're supposed to pay right away.
That's what they do.
You're supposed to pay right away, or else it's...
But she doesn't get it.
The gift.
She doesn't get it till like Monday or Tuesday.
And meanwhile, the bill is sent out, and then you say, I paid it. I hear.
Always send emails.
You're going to see the Gemara what's about the Acher.
Right, by delaying.
I'll send an email. I didn't pick it.
Tanya, Kavasei Rava. There was a brisa that supports Rava, that Rava said that it doesn't matter either way, you're allowed to make use of it and then pay it back. Neder, the brisa says this very strange expression, just ambiguous. It's like very unclear what this brisa means. Neder tzedakah vein hektish tzedakah. Neder is tzedakah, a vow is tzedakah, but hektish is not tzedakah.
Stricter. Hektish is more than tzedakah.
Yeah. So the Gemara asks right away, my Kamar, what does this mean? Gemara says, loy neder v'loy hektish tzedakah. Neder in hektish is not tzedakah. Neder is to the temple. And hektish is consecrated for God. That's not tzedakah. Gemara says, "Elav hachikama." This is what it means. You read it the opposite. You read it like this. You read that tzedakah, hariyu b'bal tacher. Tzedakah has the laws of nedarim. The laws of nedarim are that if someone pledges a sacrifice, so he has 3 holidays to bring it. He has to bring it sometime during that year, and if he delays it more than that, those 3 holidays, then he violates the prohibition of Bal Ta'acher. Do not delay your payment to the temple. So tzedakah goes under that category, that neder tzedakah, that what it means is tzedakah has the halachas of a neder. And ve'ena kehektish, but it's not like hektish. Why? Tzedakah is not hektish. Ilu hektish asalish tamushibeh. Hektish you're not allowed to use for personal use while you have it. Ilu tzedakah shalish tamushibeh, but tzedakah you are allowed to use for personal use.
It's better not to pledge. Isn't there like a pasuk?
Yeah.
It's better not to pledge if you don't.
If you're not going to keep it. But tzedakah you can use. Oh, by the way, we're going to say soon that if once it comes to the hands of the gabbai, then it changes status. But we're talking about before you actually gave it. Amar Rav Kana. Basically, if someone separates his money, he separates Meiser, he has a separate account. Is he allowed to borrow from that account for uses that he needs, and pays back? He knows what he borrowed, he'll put it back. Apparently, he is allowed to. Yeah. He's in charge of his own tzedakah account, and he can use it for things and pay it back. That's what it seems from here. Amar of Kana.
Wait, tzedakah and Meiser is 2 different things, right?
Yeah, but Meiser is supposed to go to tzedakah, right? You use it, it's originally meant for poor. We use it even for shuls and yeshivas and institutions like that. Not just poor people, just all types of organizations, we use it for that. But you have a separate account. It's just easy. You just put in money in the bank, you transfer it to the other one, and then it's set like that. It's very easy. You do it. But now one day you need some money, and you're low, and the Meiser is up there. It's a high balance. You say, I'll borrow, whatever. It seems like you're allowed to. Amar Rav Kana, Amrisal Shmaita Kamei de Rav Zvid min Nardoi. Rav Kana says that he said this over in front of Rav Zvid of Nardoi. Not Rav Zvid is here. Is Rav Zvid. I don't know if it's Rav Zvid from Nardoi.
But on Meiser, you don't have Bal Ta'ach.
I don't know if it means
If
separated.
you put the money for Meiser, you didn't give it for a specific tzedakah. You don't have Balta
Oh, you mean to
Balta
get rid of it?
starts,
Oh,
yeah, the Balta Acher starts when you make a pledge.
But what is Narda?
Nardai is a place. It's a city.
What is it?
In
Narda?
the north of Iraq.
Near
If you,
Pumbedisa.
Yeah,
if
it's
you want
not
to
far
tell
from
me about
Pumbedisa.
Nardal Pumbedisa, who was the Rabbanim for the kid,
So
it's very interesting.
Shmuel started the yeshiva in Narda, and Narda was destroyed, and Shmuel's student Rav Yehuda moved over to Pumbedisa, and he started the yeshiva in Pumbedisa. But originally there were two yeshivas. There was Surah and Narda. Rav was in Surah, is in the south, and then there was Narda. Then Narda got destroyed, and they went to Pumbedisa. Shmuel spoke about, can you hear only Shvili Dirakia? Shvili Dinardai. Shmuel was a astronomer, so he knew the roads of the heavens, the paths of the heavens, like the roads of Nardai. That's what he said. I always say the same thing. I know the roads of the heaven like the roads of Nardai also. I don't know. Like someone said, what's the difference between me and Rabbi Kiva Eger? Rabbi Kiva Eger doesn't know the answer to his questions, and I also don't know the answer to his questions.
We had a guy called Benny Levy. He was born in Pumbedisa.
Oh, really? I think it's Fallujah or something. Pumbedisa. Okay, so this is what he says. Amar, Atun, Hachi Masnisale, you, Atun is you. You, in plural, you learn it like this. You taught it like this, like Masnisa. You taught it like this. Anan, but us, Hachi Masninana. This is how we've taught it. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba Baravu, Amar Rav. We add in another name here. Rav Nachman said the name of Rabba Baravu, his father-in-law, in the name of Rav. Ha'imar Selazul Tzedakah. If someone says that this coin is donated to tzedakah, mutal shanaisi, you can exchange it. That means you could use it for other things. Bein la'atzmei, bein la'acher. You can use it for yourself, whether it's for yourself you're using it or whether it's for someone else. Bein amar alai, bein amar rezu. Whether he said that I'm accepting obligation on me or whether he just said this coin, either one you can use it. What's the difference, this one and the other one? The first way we learned is he didn't get into all those details, and then we had to ask questions. Does he mean even to someone else? Does he mean even if he says Arizu? Here, Rav Nachman said the name of Rav Avu and the name of Rav, all of the details. It was all clarified in the original statement. Tana Rabbanan, Rabbi's Tana in a Brisa. Selazul tzedakah. Someone says that this coin is for tzedakah, ad shlei basal yad gabai, until it comes into the hand of the one that collects the tzedakah, mutal shanaisa. You're allowed to exchange it for other things. You're allowed to use it for your own things and repay it. Mishabasal yad gabai, once it comes into the hand of the gabai, yasal shanaisa, then you're not allowed to switch it. Amy, is it really so? You're not allowed to switch it. Rabbi Yana yazifu para. Rabbi Yana himself, Rabbi Yana is an early Amoira in Eretz Yisrael. He's up here. He's above Rabbi Yochanan. He was an early Amoira. He was a Gabbai Tzedakah, and he would actually borrow from the collection and pay it back. And we just said that a Gabbai Tzedakah, once it comes to the Gabbai, is not allowed to pay it back. It's not allowed to borrow. It's not allowed to borrow. And Rabbi Yanai would. The Gemara says, Shani Rabbi Yanai denichale la'aniyim. The Aniyim were happy with Rabbi Yanai borrowing. Why? The Kama Damashi Ma'asi Umaisilu. When Rabbi Yanai would use the money, then the fund had a lower balance. And then, even though it was lent out to himself, it had a lower balance, but then he was able to tell the rich people in the town that the tzedakah fund has a low balance. In that way, it would be able to have they would be able to have more money in there. Doesn't sound 100%.
It sounds very good.
The other way, though,
it's harama.
It's harama, but
he's good. He's doing a good job.
They discuss
anything to get more money for tzedakah.
They discuss. I don't know if the means, if the end justifies the, but they discuss. He could have actually said, He could have actually said we have low funds, but he didn't want to lie. It wasn't going to lie. He wasn't going to say that we need more money. But so when he would borrow, then the fund was lower. Taner Rabbanan.
Genius.
Yisrael shehisnadiv menorah iner lebeis haknesses. A Jew that donates menorah or a candle to the shul, ashel l'shanaisa. You're not allowed to switch it. Means, I guess, use it for yourself.
Here it says to
Change it to
divert
something
for
else.
Different use.
So,
But the first glance, I thought maybe to change the name on it. Because when people donate certain things, many years pass, you need a refresher. You
Right.
change the name.
change it for something else. That's what it would be. Savar Rab Chia bar Abba l'meimar. Rab Chia bar Abba says that you're not allowed to change it for anything. Leishna l'dvar reshus, leishna l'dvar mitzvah. Even for some other mitzvah, you're not allowed to switch it. You would switch it use it for some other cause. Amalei Rabami says to Rab Chia bar Abba, these are two students of Rabbi Yochanan. Rab Chia bar Abba is the main student. Rabami and Rabasi, they actually took over. They were great, but they're Rabami says, Hachiyam Rabbi Yochanan. No, Rabbi Yochanan said different. Leishanu al dvar reshus. You're not allowed to change it for a mundane thing. Aval dvar mitzvah mutal l'shanaisa. You are actually allowed to switch it. Midam Rabasi am Rabbi Yochanan, because Rabami's friend Rabasi says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Ovid kecham shesnadav menorah iner lebeis haknesses. If a non-Jew donated a candelabra or a candle to the shul, it's not really a candle; it's a candle holder to the shul. Ad shlei nishtaka shem ba'aleh. Until the person's name has not been lost from it. That means when you look at it, you say, oh, that's the one that he donated. Then also l'shanaisa, then you're not allowed to switch it to something else. It's not right. Someone just donated this. And then someone donates a bima. And they take the wood and they make the rabbi's chair or something, So, meanwhile, everyone knows he donated the bima. You can't just switch it and say, yeah, well, you gave it to the shul, so we can do what we want. That's not how it works. Until everyone is still calling it the bima that was donated by so-and-so.
In Israel, there was an organization, I'm not going to say the name, but they used to change the name on the ambulance. The ambulance, from America. And the ICAM used to change the name of the ambulance.
They put on a magnet to switch it when the guy is visiting.
Article in the paper, they call it. In Israel, the number stayed the same, but the name of the ambulance kept changing.
Oh, so every time somebody donated for an ambulance,
Well,
they
they
took the
changed
money,
the
but
name.
kept the same ambulance.
Yeah.
Oy vey.
They
Oy vey. Oy vey. Look at how much you learn when you learn Gemara.
Tell us about
Like Rabbi Yochanan said, Oili Amaimra, Oili Amayamra.
used to bring him to Israel, look at the
Rabbi Yochanan said there were certain tricks that he says they used to have a tube that they used as a scale, and they would fill it with mercury, with liquid silver. With mercury, they would fill it, and it was very heavy. So it was filled halfway. So the way they would do it, the Ganaf and Rabbi Yochanan says is that they would put the item that they're buying, they would put the item on it. Then all the liquid in the tube would fall down there, and then they would have to put the weights on. They say, "Wow, it weighs so much," until it would balance. And so Rabbi Yochanan is discussing if that tube is considered a vessel, the tube of the scale, because he knows what the Ganafim do. So he says, "Woe is to me if I talk about this. Woe is to me if I don't," because he doesn't want to teach people how to steal, but he also wants to show that they know what they're.
That doesn't make sense, because as they're bringing the weight back,
It would
get to
balance
the
it out.
point They'll balance.
It would
and
balance.
That stuff won't be there.
So
therefore they
no,
can't
if you overdo it, then it's going to go to the other side. But they would get it just up until that point, and then they would do it. They figured it out.
They had some shit.
Mishinishka Shem Baleh. Once the name of the owner is lost, then mutal l'shanaisa, then you are allowed to change it. Now, if people don't remember who donated it, so then you can switch it to something else, which happens. Someone donates a new bima, a new parechas, a new something, and they switch it for other things. Lamai, what are we referring to? If we're talking about to switch it to something totally mundane, then why did we say if a non-Jew donates it, you're not allowed to do this if it's still his name is on it? Afil Yisrael Nami, you're not allowed to change it. Even if it's a Jew, you can't change it to something else. Ela l'dvar mitzvah. It must be that we're referring to changing it to a mitzvah. And now what's the reason why? Time David kechavimhu, the pai. You're not allowed to change it to something else because the non-Jew is pai, is going to cry out. It's going to make a big tumult. Avil Yisrael d'lei pai shapidami. But a Jew, you are allowed to change to another mitzvah. If he donates it for one, you can switch it to something else. Sha'azarak Taya, there was this guy, Shazarak, I don't know what country that's from, but he sounds like he's an Arab, he's a merchant.
Polish.
It's not Polish. Indiv Shraga Lebeknishta, he donated a candle to the, or a candle holder maybe, to the temple, to the Shul de Rabbi Yehuda, of Rabbi Yehuda. And Shanye Rachba. Rachba changed it. V'ikbid Rabba, Ikad Amri Shanye Rava, v'ikbid Rachba. And either Rabba was upset about it, or Rabba switched it, and Rachba was upset about it. V'ikad Amri Shanye Chazani de Pumpadisa. Some say that the Gabbai of the Shul in Pumpadisa, remember we just said Rabbi Yehuda was started the yeshiva in Pumpadisa? So that the Chazanim of Pumpadisa, the Gabbai, the Chazan means a Gabbai, they switched it, Vikbid Rachba, Vikbid Rabba, and both Rachba and Rabba were upset about this. Mandashanya, the one that switched it, Savar Delei Shchiach, says the guy never shows up to look at his donations because he's a merchant. He travels for 6 months at a time. When's he going to come back? He'll never see it. Mandi Ikbid, the one that said, no, you're not allowed to do that, Savar, Zimnin Demikri Vasi, he's going to come and he's going to see. It's going to be a problem. We used to have in yeshiva an old couple used to come and look at the plaque. They would come and the plaques were all dusty. They would come and they would try. It would take them an hour to find where it was. But you had to leave it there because the guy showed up once a year on the yard site to look at the names. No, he never comes, but once a year he does.
That's like some people have their gift closet of all the gifts they don't want to use. And when that cousin was coming, they take out the gift and put it on the mantle.
The Mishnah says, someone that's on his deathbed, or someone that's being taken out to be killed because he was guilty of some capital crime, capital punishment for some bad crime. So he's not allowed to be, we don't pledge his value. He doesn't have any value as a slave because anyone that's going to buy him is going to be dead in a day. And he also can't pledge his value, interestingly, even the Torah value, which gives him for his age. Why? He said a goisis was, that we understood why. Because a goisis can't stand up. And we said to pledge the value, you have to stand up. But Yotzi Laharig is interesting. Rabbi Chanina ben Akavya, Oimer Nerach. Rabbi Chanina ben Akavya says no. The Torah value that he gives for his age, that you can do. Because we have a set value. The Torah says his value. It doesn't have to do with being a slave. Rabbi Yossi Oimer, Rabbi Yossi says, Noider Umayrech. This fellow can pledge, and he can pledge the value of someone for their age, umakdish, and he can consecrate items. Vim hizakayev, and if on his way out to being killed, he causes damage, he has to pay for the damages that he caused. He's probably very upset. He's being taken out, and he causes damage, but he has to pay for that damage. Now, Rabbi Yossi seems like, the way the Mishnah is set up, it seems like Rabbi Yossi is arguing here, but it turns out, The Tanakama doesn't discuss someone giving pledges. They only discuss him being the pledge, his value being the object of the. Gemara says now, Bishleim Agoisis. It makes sense. Someone that's on his deathbed, lay neither. You can't pledge his value of what he's worth as a slave. Because he has no value. But he also can't be pledged his age. Why? Because you can't stand them up, and in order to evaluate, you have to stand them up. That's what it says. But someone that's being taken out, neither you can't pledge his value as a slave. He has no value because he's going to die. But why can't he be pledged for his age? Titania was taught in the Braisa, how do we know that someone that's on his way out to being killed, and he says, I'm pledging my value to the temple. It says, Le'yam Klum, he didn't say, it's nothing. Talmud Laimar, the Pasuk says, how do we know this? Kol Chayrim Layifta. The Pasuk is talking about someone that's guilty of a death penalty. He cannot be redeemed with money. But the Gemara is learning it, that anyone that's guilty of a death penalty, La Yifta, cannot do things that require redemption, which means make pledges. Why
is harem used to mean death?
That's how it's used. That's how it's used. Cherem means something that's like cut off. That means like that. Condemned.
Wait, we used cherem previously for something good.
We
also.
use cherem as something that's consecrated. Yeah.
It's
But
different.
it's probably also like
Separated.
Separated.
Maybe this is even before the verdict is concluded. Talmud Laimar min ha'adam. It says, "Kol." What's the whole pasuk? Does anyone have it over here? The pasuk. Kol cherem asher yechra min ha'adam. Any cherem that's put in, that's made cherem from a person, la yifta. It says min ha'adam v'lay kol ha'adam. Only some of the people, not all of the people. Min means from. That means that only someone that's totally condemned, but not someone that's it hasn't been. The verdict hasn't been passed. Okay, so now we know why you can't do erachin, that this person can't be the subject of erachin, be the object of the erachin.
But it can be nedarim.
But he can make the vow. He can't be the object of the vow. La yifta, he can't be redeemed when he's condemned to death. Nedarim, he definitely can't be because he doesn't have any value. He's going to die.
Wait.
Neder, the difference between a neder and erech. Neder is someone's value as a slave, and erech is someone's value based on the Torah's prescribed, based on his age. So
both
he
have
can't
an
be.
absolute-
He definitely can't be a slave because he has no value as a slave. He's going to die, and he also can't have the erechin because the Torah says kol cherem la yifta, that he shouldn't be redeemed, anyone that's condemned to death. Rabbi Chanina ben Akavya damar nerach, mipnei shedam of ksuvim. Rabbi Chanina ben Akavya says no, he can be pledged. There's a set value. So hay kol cherem mayavli. What does he do with the pasuk that we just learned? Kol cherem, anyone that's condemned to death, can't be pledged, can't be redeemed. Lekadetani Rabbi Shmuel ben Yishmael Rabbi Yechim ben Breka Imer. Use it for a brisa. Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yishmael, the son of Rabbi Yechim ben Breka, says, we find that people with the death penalty from heaven, not a court death penalty, but when heaven says that they deserve death, they're able to give a payment and they're released from the death penalty from heaven. Where do you see that? If kaifer is put on him, this means that if someone's ox kills a man, so if a man kills a man, then there's a death penalty. But let's say his ox kills a man, there is no death penalty from court. He has to pay the value, either his own value or the value of the person. He has to pay that to the inheritors. But that's an atonement for a death penalty from heaven. So we see that there's such a thing as paying money for an atonement for a capital punishment, even though it's not the best in carrying it out. It's misa b'dei shamayim. Yachalaf b'dei adam kain. Maybe a person can pay off his death penalty by just giving a donation. Talmud laimar kol cherem la yifta. No, can't be redeemed. Ein li ela misas chamor shleinit shigasan lekapara. That's only very strict. Maybe I would think that's only very strict misas. We are. The Gemara is understanding now that if someone does something by mistake, if there's an atonement for that, then that means that the mistake is of lesser significance, and you can atone for it. But if there's no atonement for the mistake, that means it's so severe that there's no atonement. There's no atonement means that there's no sacrifice or anything. So what we're saying is like this. If someone curses God, or he curses his father or his mother, that if he does this by mistake, there's no korban and there's also no death penalty. What does that mean? That there's no atonement at all. There's no atonement at all. There's no sacrifice, there's nothing. You're just stuck with it. There's nothing possible. Yeah. So I would think that only such a thing, but the person can't make an atonement if he's guilty by giving money. However, mises kalais, shenitin shigasan lekapara. Let's say someone that violated a mises kala. That means, it sounds here less, but it's really someone murders, or he worships idols, or he's machal Shabbos, or he commits adultery. So over there, if he does all of this b'shoigeg, I have to figure out how you could do that b'shoigeg, by accident, by mistake. But if someone does it by mistake, so then there is a sacrifice, so you would think it's of lesser significance. Talmud Leimer kol chayrim, no, it applies to everything. There's no atonement, money atonement for capital punishments. Rabbi Yossi Yomer, what we just did was we just explained, according to Rabbi Chanania ben Akavia, what he does with the pasuk of kol chayrim. Rabbi Yossi says Neider Marach. Rabbi Yossi says that he can pledge and he can give erachin. The Tana Kama Mika Amar Delay. The Tana Kama didn't talk about this. Why is Rabbi Yossi saying that you can't pledge? The Tana Kama didn't say anything either. Regarding giving the gifts, the guy that's on his deathbed and the guy that's being taken out to be killed, everyone holds that he's allowed to give. He's allowed to make the pledge. The whole machlokes is only if he caused damage on his way out. Tanakama Savar, the Tanakama holds im hizik ein chay b'tashlumin. If he causes damage on his way out, he doesn't have to make a payment. They're taking out this person to be killed. He causes damage, he doesn't have to pay for it. Rabbi Yossi Savar im hizik chay b'tashlumin. Rabbi Yossi says no. If he did cause damage, he does have to pay for it. But my kamifligi, what's a machlokes? Someone that's getting killed, he has to pay. He doesn't have to pay. Amar Rav Yosef b'milval peh gave him a yarshin kamifligi. We're talking about someone that causes damage, but they don't have a chance to take him to court to discuss what the damages are and if he has to pay for it. So this is considered a milval peh. It's like a loan without a document. And there's a machlokes. If a milval peh, a loan without a document, can you go to the inheritors and extract the money from the inheritors, from the estate that the inheritors have?
Somebody lends on paper, you could go?
Yeah. Milval peh is you can take. Milver b'shtar, you could go. Here's a milval peh. Tanakama sovereign milval peh. Ain't a guy from an ayarshin. Tanakama holds that you can't collect from the inheritors. You see, when we said him, his a chayev, talking about after the person dies, is he still chayev to pay from the inheritors? Tanakama holds no, because it's milval peh. Rabbi Yossi sovereign milval peh gave him an ayarshin. Rabbi Yossi holds no, he's chayev to pay. That means you can extract the money from the inheritors. Rava Amar, Rava says to Kuli Alma milval peh gave him an ayarshin. No, it's everyone agrees. You cannot collect from the inheritors, both the Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi. Here we're talking about a debt that's written in the Torah. In other words, the person has a document that he's owed money. What's the document? The Bible. What does it say in the Torah? What does it say? It says over there that if someone causes this damage, this is what he has to pay. So he shows up to the inheritors with a Torah. He says, this is what you owe me. It says it's right here. Is that considered like it's written in a document? Is the Torah could be considered like a loan that's put in a document? We had this in the argument also with Pidyon
It's very
Aben.
foundational.
Remember? With Pidyon Aben, if you can take it away from someone that sold it, from someone that bought the property. So here we're having, if you can take it away from the inheritors, because it's written in the Torah. Tanakama Sabr Milva Ksuva B'Torah La Ksuva B'Shtar Dami. The Tanakama holds that just because it's written in the Torah, it's not like a personal document, and you cannot extract it from the inheritors. Rabbi Yossi Sabr Ksuva B'Shtar Dami. It's as if it's written in a document, and you can extract it. Okay. Ikkedamasni La'aha. Some say this machlokes was said about the following case. Excuse me. Hayetzili Harig. Someone that's being taken out to be killed because he's guilty. Husha Chaval Ba'acherim. He damages others. Chayev. He has to pay for those damages. Achem Shechav L'Bay, but others that damage him, Turim. They don't have to pay for his damages. Reb Shimon ben Elazar Reimer, Reb Shimon ben Elazar says, Afhu im Chaval Ba'acherim Pater. Even if he damages others, he's exempt. Shleinit l'chazaras amidas bezdin, because he can't bring him back to court to evaluate. Michlal, we're on top of Daf Zion. The Tanakama Savar nit l'chazaras amidas bezdin. This implies that the Tanakama holds that he has to pay for those things. That means that you have to bring him back to court to discuss, to see what he owes.
So I guess
And that's a
good
problem.
way to delay things.
Yeah, and that would be delaying. We have a problem. You're not allowed to be ma'ana the din. You're not allowed to delay the punishment. It's very painful to delay a person's punishment. He wants to just get it over with.
In America, they wait 20, 25 years before they execute them.
25
20, 25 years before they execute
years or days?
Years.
Years.
'Cause they think maybe
That
it's
could
gonna
be
appeal.
because maybe they'll find more evidence and DNA and things, I guess.
I don't know, it's really-
It must be very hard. I didn't speak to anyone that's sitting there, but it must be very hard for them. They just sit there waiting. Amar Rabbi Yosef says, the milval peh, the argument is if you can collect the milval peh from inheritors. Tanakama savar milval peh goyim min hayarshim. Tanakama holds that you can collect from the inheritors, and that's why you bring them back, and you collect it. Reb Shimon ben Elazar savar ein goyim min hayarshim. Reb Shimon ben Elazar says that
Are the Yershim denying it? What are they saying? Person comes.
they don't know anything. They don't know anything.
Here it's different. I mean, if you want to compare apples to apples, there's no doubt that he did the hezed. There's a knowledge on both sides that it exists. By the
Right.
Yershim says we don't know. All right.
Sometimes Yarshim are children.
Yeah. So there's a doubt if it even happened. All right.
Okay, so that was Rabbi Yosef's story, and now Rabba says, Rabba Amar the Kuli Alma Milval Peina Giv Min Yarshiv Achim B'Milval Ksuv B'Teira Ksuv B'Shtarka Miflagi. It was exactly this discussion that we had before on the Yotzei Lehareg. Now that we were discussing if he causes damage in our Mishnah. Some learn it on this other brisa where it's the Tanakam and Reb Shimon ben Elazar. And Rabba says if it's written in the Torah that he owes money because he caused damage, and the Torah says the price for damages, is that considered that you can extract it from the inheritors? Tanakam Asavar